Hello. We have a full moon tomorrow morning on the west coast of California. The full moon is at 6:43 a.m. And as I said last time, with the new moon, we had a lot of irritating aspects that, in some respect, should have eased. You should have found a way through that. Although some of the through the irritation, some of the circumstances and some of the sense of tension still remain. But with the full moon, we actually have a much simpler set of energetic signature, much simpler dynamic than we've had for some time. There's kind of a clear balance between the easy aspects and the difficult aspects that makes it a little bit more straightforward to have a sense of what's going on. On the one hand, there is a delightful aspect, Jupiter and Venus, the two beneficent planets, Jupiter at the end of Leo and Venus at the beginning of Virgo. They're together, and together they form a kind of almost a little bit of a licentious aspect, as it were, even though Virgo is hardly well, Virgo can be. Anyhow, licentious may or may not be the word, but in any event, there's a desire to enjoy the pleasures of life and enjoy to break free of the bonds, to be expansive and to have pleasure, to enjoy the nice things, to have some beauty and relaxation and just plain joy. Who can complain about that? It's wonderful, it's great, and it's part of the dynamic, and you have to allow for that. However, wouldn't you know it, it is in direct contrast. It forms a difficult aspect with Saturn, the disciplinarian, as is so often the case. There's a tug here. There's a tripping up kind of aspect between the desire to just let loose and have fun and the need for responsibility, for discipline, to uphold certain responsible courses of action or behavior. And it's interesting to note, too, that Saturn is, again, the disciplinarian, the teacher. And this full moon is an interesting full moon. It's a blue moon, hence my blue shirt. That really only means it's the second full moon of the month. And it happens not that often, but, it does happen usually every year. And it's also Guru Purnima, which is the full moon, which is set aside to honor the Guru. And one could think of this not just in terms of the Indian or Hindu beliefs, but in terms of just honoring the teacher. The external teacher is specifically to be honored at this period of time, but the internal teacher is especially important right now. Along with or without the external teacher, it will be difficult to get through this period of time without also very much honoring the teacher within, and the external teacher as a manifestation of the teacher within. The positive aspects that help us out are aspects that help us act in a way that is consistent with our responsibilities, the disciplines imposed upon us, what we need to do, the necessary restrictions or limitations of our life. However, even this aspect, one of the planets is Mars in Cancer, and Mars doesn't really like to be in Cancer. Mars is the ego, the drive to take care of yourself. And Cancer is a passive water sign, the mother. So sometimes, even though there's a positive aspect between Mars and Saturn, so between the ego and the need to follow through with disciplined action, and there's some consistency there, some ability to do so, there can also be resentment and sulkiness. You can do what you need to do, but pout about it, or make sure the other force, whatever it is, knows that you don't want to do it. And this is not a good thing. It won't help you in any direction. There are two approaches that are very much supported by the astrological aspects for dealing with the particular push-pull between the need to enjoy yourself and the need to allow for living life, which has to be done, and not getting tripped up by feeling the need to resist to a detrimental degree, also the need for responsibility and to be able to follow through happily with the responsibilities and the disciplined action that's required of you. And both of them do require finding the teacher within. And both of them are shifts in terms of how you view this. First of all, not viewing some external force as the thing that's making you do it or forcing you to do it, but viewing it as something that comes from within. Now, you can view it appropriately with the Mars in Cancer as a mother, not the pushy, bossy mother, but an enthusiastic, energetic mother who has only your best interests at heart, and who, even though you may not completely understand it, does know something about where all this is going that you don't quite understand, just as a 7-year-old being pushed to do something that they have some resistance to do doesn't know that it's going to be something they'll really enjoy. You can think of it like that. You can also think of it as a little bit more abstractly as shifting your relationship to the notion of being the doer. That the ego, that not setting aside the notion that you're the doer, you are the instrument, approaching yourself as the instrument of doing, but some other force deep within, not some mysterious subconscious force, but the very force that is you, your consciousness, your fact of being alive. That exists, that is you, that is expressed in you. And if you quiet yourself and hear the voice of your consciousness, in some sense, separate from the specifics of the action and connect to the fact that an action will happen through you, and let the rightness of the right action come through you, connecting again to the experience of you simply being the means of action, and the doer is the force within your own consciousness. That's a much more difficult and much more abstract notion, but if you can do that, then there is no action. Then you can only connect to the right action and only act from the place of allowing that force within you to come through. Whichever one, either one will work, but in any event, find that whatever external force you think is forcing you to do something, find the teacher within, the actor within, and connect to that. Let it come through you. There's another important aspect also to be aware of that is very different from this, and that's the need to pay attention to the thoughts and the inspiration that comes to you suddenly. That includes words, to speak up. This is not a time to brood or sulk or harbor resentment. It's a time to speak up without maliciousness quickly. When a thought occurs to you, to say something simply, to own it as your own thought, not as something that's universally true. But much harm can be avoided, generally speaking, but certainly in this period of time, by simply saying what's on your mind when it occurs to you. Similarly, the inspirations that occur to you also should be owned as your own and followed through as yours, independent of what you feel you're supposed to be doing. What others may feel you're supposed to be doing. And we're talking momentary inspirations that may lead you somewhere completely unexpected, but are important to listen to. They may have to do with work, they may have to do with play, and this should not be inconsistent with the whole notion of pleasure versus responsibility. It's simply an ability to listen to the spur of the moment, and to not be afraid to put that into words or put that into form. That's it. That's it for the full moon. It's actually quite a lovely one, and a perfect one for Guru Purnima, for the honor of the teacher, the supporting, beneficent, and nurturing teacher within, or that very force of divine consciousness that moves through us, however you want to look at it. All right, enjoy the full moon, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Bye.